I hear the call of the stars.
G'day everybody, Duckville here. Welcome to another replay. This is going to be on Shakura's Plateau. This is of course one of the very older sort of maps that is left in the map pool at the moment. Obviously we've had some recent changes with the new season to the maps, and we will hopefully see a few more of the newer maps get posted up, and I'll try and find some more of them because they are a bit of fun, and we'll hopefully get to those soon. But here today we've actually got Milkyway down here as the red Protoss down in the bottom right hand side of Shakura's. Looks as if he's going to be heading out to do a Forge Fast Expand. Very popular build on this map, of course, because it's a very great way of establishing an economy whilst keeping yourself relatively protected. And of course with this pylon here you can put down a forge, a gateway, and then potentially another gate if needed. But usually, of course, people always put down the cybernetics core across to the side. His opponent over here is Miras, who's a blue Zerg over here on the left-hand side, and he's going to be just starting off with an extractor trick, there, just to get the drones up a little bit faster than they normally would be. Both of these players, they're pretty high-level players, but I haven't actually seen replays from either of these guys before, so it'll be a bit of a learning experience for all of us as to how their particular styles sort of come about, and just how they play the game. But as we can see here, Probe just coming in, putting in a little bit of damage there, not of course going to do too much against the hatchery at all. One time I have actually seen a scouting Probe do 300 damage on a hatchery, which was quite hilarious to see. Just starting off here, Miras is just grabbing that extractor, putting down the spawning pool, and we'll probably be going for a speedling expand, or at least some with a potential for speed there as well. Now, Probe, just as we've mentioned in some previous casts, I think particularly with Huck, when we're talking about harassment at the start with workers, doing a great job here is Milkyway with this Probe, just pushing away, doing some damage on these drones that are here in the gas line. So it's always good to come in there and do what you can against that if possible. Meanwhile, just back at the base, he's putting down a Nexus first. Very common tactic if you are playing as a Protoss is we do see a lot of players actually get the Nexus before they get the Forge these days. It's actually quite common, but you do have to be very careful. You do have to make sure you're aware of the timings of the pool. Of course, Milkyway should be aware that the pool should have just popped just now, and then he will be able to defend adequately back at the natural expansion. But just checking up here at the third base, a very clever tactic there, just to make sure, because a lot of Zergs, when they suspect that a Protoss may be coming in to deny the natural expansion, as we'll probably see Milkyway do, there it is, you get a pylon down in your natural, you can't expand there straight away, and sometimes of course Zergs like to come up here, take a third base, and then get that one up and running as well, whilst also getting the natural done here at that time too. So we'll see if he's going to cancel this pylon. No, he's not. He doesn't cancel the pylon. A little bit surprised he didn't cancel that. Probably could have saved a little bit of minerals there, but what he has done is gotten a cannon and a gateway up. And now the thing with this particular structure of these the buildings is that you can put down the gateway over here. Notice that he is pulling the probe outside the base so that you can make sure that goes about and does some scouting. And also, what happens is, once this gateway is done, which will be in just a second, cancel that and then put down a cyber. So it's still secure, but you're not wasting extra money on a gateway or anything like that. So he does actually have 2 probes are out already. I'm a bit surprised to see that he has 2. This one is just out of range of the Zelnaga Watchtower, I believe. Yeah, that's like just out, just a few meters out of range there. But what he is doing is going to keep these probes around just outside on the map, just to make sure he can scout around and keep an eye on what is going on. Of course, you'd want to send a probe in just to scout out what the Zerg is doing at the natural expansion, and then of course if you can get inside and get some scouting done inside the main, that is also quite beneficial. So just here at the moment we do have a third just about to pop up here for Miras. He's just going to put this hatchery down, going to make sure that's all secure, sending these Zerglings around, making sure that there are no hidden pylons or anything like that. And as you can see, this scouting Zergling will not see the probe that is just down to the side there, but they will make sure that this is all cleared out, which is a very good way of making sure that the start of the game is very nice, clean and crisp. So what we'll see from our Protoss is probably going to be the next big thing. There is an Overlord just hanging out, scouting out what's going on. Of course, the ironic part about when a Protoss fast expands is that generally most of the tech is not going to be in the main base. It's always going to be down here at the natural expansion. You see a lot of Protoss put down their Stargates at the front, which bewilders me sometimes, because I mean, if you're going to go a certain tech, at least maybe attempt to hide it. But sometimes a lot of the pros, they just put their Stargate like right at the front here. A Zergling will run up and then scout it, and then you've automatically got that counted. So I'm not sure about that, but what we do have is a Stalker just running up here, going to try and deny this Overlord to the best of its ability. But as we can see, the Overlord now floating down. We'll be able to see just a little bit of the tech that's there. Can see that the Gateway is spinning away along with the Forge as well. Can he actually see the Forge? Yes, he can. So he can see the Forge. Knows that there will be an upgrade there on the weapons as well, because of course you generally want to grab that +1 to weapons at first as a Protoss in this particular matchup. Now, Milkyway is going to get that Stargate, a very traditional way to play this particular matchup, especially on this map. I find that the Stargate transition is a really good way to open up on this map. You send a Void Ray and a couple of Phoenix across to the third base, put some harassment down here on this this third base, and then if there's only a Queen there, you can probably snipe out the Queen as well as picking up some of the drones along the way. So we'll see if that is the plan. But of course, now that the Stargate is suspected, as I said, it's a very common opening now, so it's very much a traditional sort of thing for Protoss to do. And Miras is going to be well protected. 2 Spore Crawlers at each expansion. That's actually not actually sure if that's a bit of an overreaction, but you don't often see players get 2. They'll normally get maybe 1 at each expansion. Then you can use the extra Queen as well to poke away at any Void Rays or anything like that come about. This probe's still hanging up here, not actually doing anything. I'm a bit surprised that Milkyway has not pushed in to try and scout out what his opponent is up to. But we've got a Fleet Beacon. We have a very, very quick Fleet Beacon here from Milkyway. The only thing I can suspect from this is that it is going to be something along the lines of a mothership. And if you're a fan of the foreign scene, you will know that certain players such as Kiwi Kaki have come about with certain tactics with Blink Stalkers that have been very successful. And the fact that the Twilight Council is here does sort of point towards that particular tactic. There is the mothership. So we're going to see a pretty quick mothership here from Milkyway. One thing he does have to worry about is his supply. Check that out. He's actually just about capped. He does need to be very careful with that. Got an extra 3 gateways just warping in up here as well, along with an extra 2 there. So he is going to go up to 6 gates. These Stalkers will have their blink is on the way, along with +2 to weapons is also coming through as well. So these Stalkers are going to do a lot of damage, and once that mothership comes into the field, that will pick up some energy, and then we'll be able to warp in, to recall some of the Stalkers when they're on the field. So we'll see if that tactic is utilized here. One Stalker getting out of his depth here, a few of these Lings just running along here, poking along at the Stalker. They will probably get us around right about now, and then the Stalker will be no more, and there it goes. So the Lings just picking up a quick kill there, nothing too significant, but it definitely is something to write home to your mum about. But some Lings just here piling up, a lot of these Lings, so I'm a bit surprised. I would have assumed, has he actually scouted out what's happening yet? No, he hasn't. Doesn't know that it is going to be Blink Stalkers, but once he does see the Blink Stalkers, we can probably assume that there will be a infestation pit will go down. Totally forgot what it was called there. And once that's done, then the Infestors will come out, and the Infestors will do a great job of countering the Blink Stalkers. But we'll have to see if that is the plan here for Miras. We got some Roaches as well in the mix now. These guys do a little bit of damage to those Stalkers, of course, and then once they have some of their upgrades, they actually do quite a lot of damage. But it looks as if, at the moment here, the upgrades are going to be +1 to melee, and we heard that foreboding sound. The mothership has now warped in. Foreboding for some, not really that scary for others. Depends on how good the player who's using it is. And busting down the front door there, the Stalkers are now on the march. They will have +2 in just a second, along with their blink. These guys are going to do a lot of damage. Some Lings are still running around the map, just poking around, making sure that that third has not been taken. And then these guys will probably find out that there is a lot of Blink Stalkers in store here for Miras. Milkyway, now his tactic has been given away, so he's going to need to start doing some pressure. Perhaps he will use the pressure to cover this third expansion that's just going up now. But a lot of Roaches coming through, along with some Lings as well. Doing an okay job with the creep spread. I'm a bit, I'd say you need to just pick it up just a little bit, at least to make sure that this base is connected here. And then we'll see what he's up to. But here is a battle here. We got the mothership now floating across, providing that cloak for all of those Protoss units, and they will not be able to be taken out by these Roaches and the Lings, and that will be that quick battle there, done and dusted. And now the Roaches will have to contend with these Blink Stalkers on the field, and I'll be surprised. There we go, a couple of Blinks just to pick up some extra Roaches there, and now Milkyway will back away for just the moment here. I would suspect he's going to just try and get this base up and running first, and then he will be going into mass attack mode there with these Blink Stalkers. And then, especially given that this mothership has now built up 100 energy, so it can actually use the mass recall skill, he will be able to, or she, it's a chick in the mothership, right? Yeah. I don't know, it's just a weird picture. But anyway, the mothership will be able to recall these stalkers once they get into battle. But speaking of battle, a lot of lings here. This is quite a lot. Unless that mothership gets across to actually cover all of these stalkers, he will lose a lot of these stalkers to this massling attack. There we go, finally bringing the mothership across. There is an overseer to spot as well. They will be able to spot all of those stalkers along with those extra cannons that are there, but losing quite a lot there is Miras. He's down to 109 supply. We'll have to rebuild pretty quickly there. Only has lings on the way. There are no roaches and there is no infestation pit yet. What is going on here? Really surprised that he hasn't picked that up. Not only does the infestors will provide, there we go, there's the infestation pit. The infestors will provide the fungal growth, of course, which does a lot of damage to the stalkers, but he will also be able to put down a neural parasite on the mothership. Now I would love to see that. Put the neural parasite down, vortex some of those stalkers, and then we'll have an interesting game coming up. But here comes a phoenix. Where's this phoenix going to go? Perhaps to do some scouting, but he is just popping over here. Okay, this is going to provide a little bit of high ground for these stalkers to blink up into, but he does have to be careful. Are there any of those infestors out just yet? No, there's not, but the lings are sort of alerted to their presence. So, not to mention with the stalkers just camping out here, just waiting at the front door saying, hey, I'm here, get prepared for me to come in. But the queen also spotting the phoenix as well. So, Miras is going to be well prepared for that blink into the bane, I would assume, and as such, the stalkers are now going to retreat for the time being. The mothership still just hanging out here, using it for defensive purposes, making sure this base is cloaked and the cannons are well protected, unless an overseer comes into play. And not actually using this for any types of sort of offensive tactics, of course. Sometimes you do see the mothership being used to actually recall into a battle. You can fly a mothership across to one of these bases or something like that, use the stalkers down here at the bottom of the map and attack into the main, and then recall everything all the way back up here, and then strike on this hatchery. But I'll be looking out for that sort of tactic here from Milkyway. He is warping in more stalkers. We're currently sitting at 180 supply, or 181 for Milkyway, 186 for Miras, and he does have a lot of banelings mixed into this, so he will be doing a lot of damage. The problem will be he will need to try and surround those blink stalkers, and that will be the key factor to actually defending any attacks. But it looks as if with some smart blinking there from those stalkers, they are going to march inside the main, going to try and take out this lair if they can. That would be a huge hit if he can take it out. The lings are now coming in, banelings rolling through as well. Looks as if the stalkers are recalled, and that is that attack done. He did take out a couple of buildings here, I believe, did get the lair down to half health, but not actually that much significant sort of harassment damage was done. And now, in fact, Miras is not going to have any more of that, putting down a total of, how many is that? We're going to have around about, we got like 7 spine crawlers going down here at the main base, and now blinking into the front, trying to take out this potential 5th base. Does get that cancelled, and now he's going to retreat for the moment here. The mothership still does have enough energy for another recall. Yes, it does. So if he is wanting to put some more harassment pressure on, he can. And I'm just a bit surprised. There's some of the infestors. They do have their pathogen glands, so they're ready to fungal. And if they can get a fungal off, you would say this could be the end of this game, because if these stalkers all go down to those banelings, that will be a huge strike in the side of Milkyway. But it looks as if he's trying to retreat in here, blinking across. No fungal growth being used. A bit surprised that there was no fungal there. There is an overseer off to the side to make sure that these cloaked units are picked up and detected. Now actually blinking on top of those infestors, taking out a lot of them, but they put down a fungal growth. And rolling through are those banelings. Look at that supply go down for Milkyway. Did lose a lot of his stalkers there, and now he's down to that paltry force there, just 2 lines of those stalkers. Now down to, how many is that total? 16 stalkers here in this particular mix, warping in a few more down to the side along with this robo, and will be able to just hold out for the moment. He does have a lot of things that he has to look after here with this 4th base now going up. He does have to put some pressure on as well. Of course, with these blink stalkers, a lot of the time, if you don't do damage with blink stalkers, they're really not worth it, because a lot of the time, depending on how you mix up the rest of your defense, they can be really hard to defend against certain things. Now, these mass lings are going to cause a lot of trouble when he is trying to harass, so I do like that particular tactic, but I'm still a bit unsure about this lack of infestors on the field now. Now, just looking at the tech, we do have the adrenal glands going up for the Zerglings. They'll be doing a lot faster damage. We have the +2 to ground carapace on the way, +3 to melee attack is on the way, so we could be looking at a switch to the Ultralist, but I'll be a little bit surprised if we do see that, because with good control along with that mothership, of course, Ultralists can be quite easily countered by the Stalkers just due to their mobility and their bonus damage to armored. See, they do that At 17 damage is quite a lot when you put a big ball of Stalkers together like this. But speaking of just the tech switch, we actually have a Spire on the way. Is actually done, sorry, just picking up now, and he will be able to perhaps switch into some Broodlord strats here, but the Z-Stalkers doing good blinks. They were some quite decent blinks. They're actually pulling away from those Banelings, now being recalled out. They have done a lot of damage. They're making those Banelings sacrifice themselves, and now in fact warping up a second attack here into this 4th base, and if he can do a bit of damage here, perhaps take this hatchery out, that would actually be a huge hit for Milkyway here. He really does need to do some good significant damage, because if he doesn't, he could be looking at quite a decent attack coming through soon from Miras. Now, just doing a little bit more damage here. Would love to see a couple of blinks to keep these Stalkers out of trouble, and he does take out that hatchery. Did not get cancelled, and that is that particular base done and dusted. So we've got Miras still sitting here on 4 bases. He has mined out the main. He has almost mined out the natural. Still got a little bit there at the moment here. As we can see, the Greater Spire is going to be on the way as well. But now an attack on those Blink Stalkers is coming through here. This is going to be quite difficult, but no, there is the recall, and back out he goes. So he's just sort of pops in to say hello with those Stalkers, and then just pops straight out. So he's doing a great job with that mothership control there. He's just pulling the units back when they get in dire trouble, and then doing a lot of damage when he can. So this 4th base is now up and running for Milkyway. Going to probably look to him to take a 5th base maybe up here if he can in the near future. He is going to need a little bit more gas, and there we go, because he has, look, I do believe he has switched to the Colossus tech. He has indeed. There's a couple of Void Rays on the way as well. Extra Stargate being warped in here. We've got +1 to the armor is just about on the way here for the Protoss forces as well. Now Miras has spotted this 4th base down to the side, and he is going to try and take out the rock so he can bust in there, but it looks as if we're going to have a counter attack from the back. 2 Colossus in the mix along with 2 Archons. This is going to be quite a lot for all of these Lings to deal with. Not only is there this massive splash damage from the Archons and the Colossus, but of course you got to keep in mind that every single unit there can be recalled if they come in jeopardy. So we'll see if there is going to be, but it looks as if there could be a big battle here. Broodlings are going to do a lot of damage here on these retreating forces. Lings trying to capture everything in here. Not going to be able to see a recall just yet. I think the mothership was just a little bit low on energy. Colossus now being taken out. That reduces the attack and defensive damage of the Protoss force down quite a lot. Now with only the mothership left over, there is a Vortex pulling the units inside there, and in fact Miras may have actually done that intentionally, pulling all of his forces together just to make sure that the extra units that sat outside cannot be sniped off. Now I'm not sure about this mixture here for Milkyway. There are just really a low amount of Stalkers here, but blinking underneath the mothership, and they do that a great job of that. There is no Overseer here, so there is no way for the Protoss forces to be detected. The Infestor could put down a couple of fungal growths perhaps, but they're not going to be able to. Meanwhile, just attacking into the 3rd base along with the 4th are the Lings. They're trying to do as much damage as they can. Keep in mind they do have +3 to their weapons along with Adrenal Glands. They'll be doing really quick DPS there, but they do get taken out because of the 3 cannons that were protecting there, along with a couple of the Zealots as well. Now, just looking at the forces of Milkyway here, he's got double Robo outside at the 3rd base, can start really cranking out those Colossus if he wants to. We did see, of course, the Corruptors are out for Miras, and he does have the Broodlords as well, but he will be able to just try and deflect any Colossus. But the problem he's going to have soon is that he is really starting to get quite low on his mining capacity here. We've currently got him sitting on this 3rd base along with the 4th as well. No 5th on the way just yet. And with the forces of Milkyway starting to get quite beefy with their +3, their +1 on their armor, and no extra upgrades on the way, but they're still quite beefy. And now, with these extra Colossus coming through here, there is going to be a lot for Miras to contend with, especially with that mothership in the mix. So we'll see here that Milkyway has grabbed his 5th base. He's got that on the way, and he is going to start getting the Storm Tech as well. So he's going to be switching across to perhaps some, where is that? The Templar Archives. I'm not actually sure where it is, but the Cybernetics core, there's a second one there. Did we actually get some upgrades going? No, we didn't. Quite interesting to see. Perhaps he's just preparing for some sort of carrier switch. I would be loving if we could see something like that, but we do have a counter-attack coming in here from Miras. He's lost a lot of his forces here. He'll lose a lot of these Lings, and in fact this Nexus could go down. The probes are not going to be enough to stop it, and there we go. That is another beautiful Nexus snipe there from Miras. He's done a great job of picking off that 5th. What he's going to try and do is get his own 5th base up and running behind all of this. Now, just look at all of this. We've only got these drones here mining. There are a couple of patches left here. Hydras have been switched into as well with their groove spines. They will be able to do a lot of damage against the ground gateway forces, potentially, of Milky Way. But the problem he's going to have is dealing with these Void Rays and the Colossus, given that there are only the Broodlords and Corruptors just at the moment. This is not a great mixture for Miras. He does have these Infestors. They've got a lot of HP on them. We would love to see a Neuroparasite on the Milky Way mothership, but he's not going to do it. Puts down a Vortex, and there it goes again. The Broodlords are now out of this fight. Fungal growth going down, which of course does reveal cloaked units, and the battle is just not going nicely at all. And in fact, that mothership is now being taken out, running inside the Vortex here to try and capitalize on his position. Gets underneath all of these Broodlords, and kasplat, there goes the Broodlords, and there goes Miras. So brilliant play there by Milky Way, doing a lot of mothership style tactics there with the Blink Stalkers, of course, just pushing not as much as he probably could have or should have, but still just put a little bit of fear into the heart of Miras, while he expanded down here, took the 3rd, took the 4th, and then was just in a capital position from that particular point. So great play there by Milky Way. Hopefully we'll see some more of him in the future. Cheers.